Hi, and welcome to the X22 Report Spotlight. Today we have a returning guest, Ross Givens. Ross is a 20-year veteran of the stock market. He has worked as a broker, fund manager, and vice president of investment management for JP Morgan Chase. Givens is the leading authority on insider trading. His strategy of piggybacking opportunistic insider trades has allowed his members to substantially outperform the market since 2017 and delivered stock gains as high as 1,912%. He also hosts a weekly session where he shows members how to identify low risk, high probability setups in the market. And he's doing something special for the listeners. He's agreed to do a completely free live training for the X22 listeners. It's going to be on Thursday, July 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, online, no cost. He's going to walk through exactly how to find and copy the insider trades that Congress and corporate executives are making. I'm going to put the link in the description, but if you want it right now, it's insidersx22.com, or you can just scan the QR code. Everyone who registers gets a free insider stock pick report just for signing up. And I'd like to welcome Ross back to the X22 Report Spotlight. Ross, welcome back to the Spotlight.
Hey, thanks. Good to see you. Well,
Hey, good to see you. Well, you know it. You get to see my logo, so that's good.
That's it. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're an expert in all this. I had you on the last time. And what's very
Sure.
interesting is that a bill just passed the committee this week banning members of Congress from trading stock. And it seems that Hakeem Jeffries ordered the entire caucus to vote it down. Now, there were a lot of Democrats that said, no way, we don't want this. We don't want this bill. Why do you think he did this? I mean, I think we know the reason, but explain why the D's didn't want this to happen.
Well, first of all these proposed insider trading bans, in my opinion, are just pure theater. They could have at any point in the last 2 decades put together a singular bill, voted on it to end this. And if they all claim to want it, right? They all claim to agree, but on both sides of the aisle, they shouldn't be to trade individual stocks. And magically, they never happen. And, Pelosi, when she was in charge, used to attach these to toxic bills nobody wanted to touch. She'd pull votes in the middle of the night. This time, what the Democrats are claiming is, well, they've attached this voter ID law to this stock trading ban, so we're not going to pass it. Yes, it went through the House. It's not going to make it to the Senate. They need 60 there. They've got 53. And this is just par for the course with Congress. They say one thing and they do another. We're all aware that members of Congress come back far wealthier than when they started their terms. How is that? Well, I believe that a large percentage of their growth and wealth comes from insider trading, because that's something you can't track. There's no paper trail. You cannot prove they acted on information with the intent to exploit it. And given the information they have access to and the context they have, not to mention astonishing track records. I mean, members of Congress decimate the everyday investor. They outpace Warren Buffett and the hedge funds. And they're not going to give away their honey holes. So I think it's a charade. You'll see it's not going to pass. The next one won't pass either.
Yeah, I mean, number one, as soon as you see that they don't want this bill, that should tell you everything you need to know. It means that they're making money. Secondly, when these people come into Congress, most of these people have no money. What are they making? $170,000, $180,000 a
Not a
year?
lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no way that like Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, and the rest, there's no way that they become wealthy. I mean, I know people that make $170,000, $200,000 a year. They're not worth 10 million,
Right.
20 million.
Right.
It's completely impossible.
Yeah, I mean, the only silver lining of this is that you can follow their trades, and it's one of the reasons it doesn't really anger me as much as it does many others, because, as I like to say, well, if you bought the same stock and the thing tripled, you're not going to be very upset about it. But I think it's a case of example, right? And Nancy Pelosi, who was Speaker of the House for, a decade or so, from, what was it, 09 to 20, something like that, out in the open, made $200, $300, $400 million doing this. And everyone knows she does it. The President of the United States knows, the richest man in the world knows, Congress knows, you, me, and the rest of the public. Everyone knows she's done it. And she's never got so much as a fine. And these are blatant examples of taking advantage of their position. I mean, she was loading up on NVIDIA right before she passed a bill to give NVIDIA and the semiconductor companies billions of dollars in subsidies. They're buying defense stocks right before we invade Iran. They're buying oil companies before we get into Venezuela. They dumped all their stocks. A lot of them did right after they were briefed on COVID, before the market crashed. And so they're not going to end that. And when the example said is, well, look, she's one of the highest ranking members of Congress. She did this out in the open. Everyone knows that she's never got so much to fine. Why shouldn't I make 5, 10, 15 million dollars doing this? And so that's been the example. And until something changes, that's going to be the way it works.
Yeah, so like walk us through the numbers. I mean, a new report shows Congress made over like 6,170 stock trades in just 16 months, and 56% of those trades overlap with industries those same members were actively regulating. How is this not the definition of insider trading?
It is the definition
Yeah,
of
I know.
insider trading, but these are the people that write the definition. That's the thing, right? And so the only thing close to a ban was something called the Stock Act. They passed back in 2011 or 2012. It was the same thing as today. There's a little bit of public outrage over it. It said, we're going to end this. We're going to pass. It didn't stop them from trading. It just said they had to report their trades. So they have to file these what are called periodic transaction reports, PTR. So when they buy a stock, they have to fill out this form, file it with the House or the Senate, and those show up online in a database anyone can access. The same is true for corporate insiders. You can see when CEOs like Elon Musk and CFOs and board members buy their stock. And so I think the reason a lot more people don't follow this is, one, they don't know how to find it. If they do, it's just information overload because, as you said, 6,000
Yeah.
stock trades by members of Congress. Which ones are good? Which ones are not? And so the reason I hold these training events like the one I've got coming up this week is we show people both how to find it and what to look for, because all you're really looking for is just the absolute no-brainer opportunity. So there's a Democratic House member named Susie Lee, and she, unlike the others, almost never buys stock. She hadn't bought anything in years. And then a couple of years ago, she goes out and buys one stock, which is a company called Rheinmetall. And it is a small German arms manufacturer. Now, this woman sits on defense subcommittees. She's one of the people that decides where the defense budget goes. And she buys one stock in 3 years. And it's not Amazon or Google or Nvidia or an index fund. It's a German arms manufacturer. So that kind of stuff is just, well, the stock quadrupled over the next year, tripled, quadrupled, something like it. It was insane. And so if you look for these just outliers, right, a stock where the insiders almost never buy and 10 of them bought last week, or a pharmaceutical company waiting on drug trial results and half the C-suite just piled in with 2 times their salary, or 6 members of a defense subcommittee all piled into a defense company stock, right? That's the kind of stuff we look for and show people how to do. And it's not, what they're doing is not super ethical, I agree, but following public information of civil servants that we pay, there's nothing unethical about following what they do and using their edge for ourselves. That's what we try to help people do.
Yeah, I mean, since you mentioned Elon, which is very interesting, is Ro Khanna has been hitting Elon pretty darn hard, saying, "Oh, you know what? You should give up your wealth." But no one realizes that Ro Khanna has a lot of money too. I mean, he's made nearly like 25,000 stock trades while serving in Congress. That's about, what is it, like 42 trades per week? His
Yeah,
net
it's a
worth,
ton.
yeah, his net worth went from 800,000 to 30 million. But he's telling Elon, "Hey, you should give up your money to feed the hungry. You should give up your money for this and that and the other thing." And he sits on the Armed Services and Oversight Committee. I
Yeah.
mean, how does a sitting congressman outperform every hedge fund on the entire planet?
Well, who needs to make 42 stock trades? I do this full time. I'm not making 42 stock
That's
trades
a lot.
week. I mean, I was a VP at a big bank. I mean, I know how this stuff works. I've managed money. It doesn't take 42 trades a week to rebalance a portfolio. And how do you even have time to do that? And he's going to say, well, someone else is doing it for me. What do you got? Some Adderall up teenager just day trading your account? I doubt it. What do you need to make all these trades for? And it's funny because usually the loudest voices are the most corrupt.
Yeah.
And the people who are so adamant about, we need to ban this, it's ridiculous, they're usually the ones doing it. And they're playing this same game. This bill's not going to pass. The next one's not going to pass. This is going to go on. So I think the American people have a choice to make. You can get angry and hold picket signs and raise your blood pressure and watch nothing happen. Or you can say, all right, these are the rules of the game. I didn't create it. I just was born here on the playing board. This is the information. I want to invest in the stock market, but I want some kind of an edge. Like we're all after, right? I want some unique insight or something to allow me to get above average returns. And that generally comes from private information. If you're the CEO of a company or the CFO, you know the earnings and the mergers and the deals before. If you're a member of Congress, you know about pieces of legislation that are going to pass big numbers. You know about whether monopoly rulings are going to go which way. You know about DoD contracts and AI regulation and all kinds of things that move equity markets. And so it stands to reason that your edge is following people who know more than everyone else. And so it just stands to reason that if you're going to be looking for stocks, following the people who run the companies and the people who run the government is a pretty good source of picks.
You said something very interesting that Ro Khanna, and I guess most of the politicians say, oh, someone else is making my trades. Yeah, someone might be making their trades, but how are they getting the information to make the trade? See that? Yeah, we need the communications between, I guess it's supposed to be an entity, and they're not supposed to be communicating with politicians. So we need communications showing that, they're communicating.
That's the thing. You can't enforce the stuff, and it would cost so much to do it. There's been one case I know of, and I cannot think of the guy's name. He's a representative, but he's the only guy I've seen cold busted for insider trading. And the deal was there was a company in his district around COVID time. I think it was a steel company that was like on the verge of getting shut down. And so he championed the president and Congress to pass tariffs, to basically say, hey, let's put a big tariff on foreign, and I'm not really getting details wrong, this is the main idea, on foreign steel so that this company's steel is cheaper, sells more, save all the jobs, save the plant, which is fine. Like that's his job, is to protect the people, his constituents, right? But then as soon as he got word that these tariffs were going to pass, which was going to save the company, and the stock was trading, for pennies on the dollar, he goes and buys the stock within 24 hours. And his wife actually bought it. And they had the guy dead to rights. Full 2-year ethics committee investigation. There's like a 40, 50-page report. I've read it. They interviewed the guy's broker. They pulled text messages and emails. They had the guy dead to rights on this. And at the very end, the bottom line, what they suggested for the punishment was he would divest from the stock, which means you have to sell the stock and you can't buy it again. That was it. That was the whole thing after probably tens of millions of dollars in taxpayer-funded investigation. So again, why would they not do this? I mean, this is as bad as it gets, right? It's like if someone got caught cheating on their wife and their wife said, just don't do it again. Well, they go, I guess I can cheat on my wife, right? Right. That's what's happening here. You should never cheat on your wife, but you see what I'm saying. So they've said they're not going to enforce it, right? They've come out with their actions and said it's not something anyone's going to get prosecuted over. So it's the Wild West. And the last thing Congress deserves is an edge over the people paying their salaries. So I think everyone owes it to themselves to follow this information. And again, it's not just Congress; it's also corporate executives and C-suite executives. So listen, we've been doing this since 2017 as a service for our members. I'm not saying we get it right 100% of the time, but I will say that losses are much smaller than the gains, and we have vastly outperformed the market over that period doing this. We have found dozens of stocks that have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, some gone 10, 20x higher because we're following information or people who have better information.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Nancy Pelosi before, and she's like the poster child for insider trading. I mean, I think people have like graphs of, how much she's made and everything like that. And she just bought like another $1 million to $5 million in Intel call options this year, another 500,000 to $1 million in Uber options. I mean, her estimated net worth is 636 million. And of course, she always says, well, it's not me doing it. It's my husband doing it. Yeah. It feels like they always use their spouses to do everything.
Yeah, it's funny. Members of Congress seem to be married to all the best stock pickers in the country.
Yeah.
But that's a great example, though. You said it, and it's one of the things you look for. Like you said, she didn't buy $1 million in Intel or $5 million in Intel. She bought $5 million in Intel stock options. And so anyone who's watching, not familiar, an option contract is a very, very leveraged short-term place. You're saying, I'm going to bet the stock is above this price by this date. And if it's not, you lose all the money. So putting $5 million in Intel is a big bet. Putting $5 million in Intel stock options is a massive, super leveraged, all or nothing bet. One you wouldn't make unless you were pretty sure of something. And so, again, Intel has been one of the biggest winners this year, right? The
Yeah.
government took a stake in the company. It's got the full backing now, the federal government. It's more than doubled. And what do you know? She's $5 million leveraged long on it. Like, so these are the things you want to look for and what we show people in these free training events like the one we're having this week.
Yeah, and you said it before. There are different rules or laws for them and everyday people. For example, Justin Jennings, a regular American, he looked at his girlfriend's worktop, found information about upcoming mergers, and made 2.7 million trading on it. The SEC charged him. The DOJ filed criminal charges. He now faces prison time. And Congress, they have a completely separate, different rules where nothing ever happens to them. So the everyday American, if they get caught, they go to prison or they're fined, and Congress, nothing happens to them.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy, right? And I think
Yes.
people are tired of it. You know, we saw this back when Obamacare was passed. No one wanted that garbage. I still hate it. It's, you know, my insurance premiums went from 100 to 500 overnight. Now it's $2,000 for a family or something. Meanwhile, Congress opted out of it. It applied to everyone in this country except for them. And this is a great example. This guy, look, he broke the law. He took, he found out he and his girlfriend or wife work from home. He shared a wall. She's in the merger department. They found out what they're buying. So he takes his whole 401k and dumps it into the stock. Yeah. It goes way up and the deal's announced, makes a bunch of money. You can't do that. It's funny, but you can't do it. You got to know you're probably going to jail if you do it. But I can understand. I mean, when the lawmakers, the example they said is we do it every day. And so it's hypocritical, but that's the landscape we're dealing with.
I mean, I'm hoping that changes now because now we have a different individual in the DOJ, and hopefully, as the elections come around, we remove a lot of these individuals that are in Congress. Maybe not the D's, but maybe the Republicans more so than anything else. And hopefully, we go after these people, and hopefully, there are laws. But right now, we don't have that, and hopefully, that everything does change.
Yeah, and I think you'd have to see that. You'd have to see an actual prosecution of a sitting member of Congress for insider trade. They'd have to do real, actual jail time, and I just don't see that happening. You know, and we've seen. I mean, how many like when Trump? Oh, thank God, Trump's here, man of the people. It's going to change, and then what's that? It's been 10 years. It's the same thing. Like we always come in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and hopeful on the next Boy Scout coming in. And the swamp corrupts them just the same because you got to think it's not just it takes one person going, here's what we're going to do. You're talking about 435, well, plus the Senate. So what's that, 400, whatever people, members of Congress, making millions of dollars a year doing this. Yeah. And you're going to take away their honey hole and everyone else is going forward. They're going to make sure that doesn't happen, I believe.
It's not just Congress either. I mean, we've seen corporate insiders, CEOs, executives, they dump millions in stock.
Oh, yeah.
6.6 billion in one recent month alone. I mean, what should everyday Americans take from that? What are these insiders telling us with their actions?
Well, they're telling you what to buy. I mean, I'll show this in the training event, but I've got this chart of the stock market over the last 20 years. And, you know, there's great years, there's bad years. We kind of ebb and flow, but there's historically times, man, I wish I'd have bought big there, and ooh, I should have cashed out at the top, right? And if you overlay that with the insider buying, if you look at month to month, when insiders bought a ton of stock, when they didn't buy very little, they nail the lows perfectly. Like they were loading up in March 2009 at the bottom of the financial crisis. They were loading up in March 2020 at the bottom of COVID. They were loading up after the 2022 bear market before this AI-fueled rally we've been on every single time. And when you look at their performance as a group, just take all their trades, all their buys, all their sells, say, okay, the market averages this, the average investor does that, and you guys are doing double that, triple that. Congress averaged like 30-something% last year. That's unheard of. And so it's just the market's just a game of putting the odds in your favor, right? If stocks are going up, the rising tide's going to lift all ship. Okay, so which stocks do you want to focus on? Well, the ones being bought by politicians and the insiders who run those companies are probably better picks. Great. Okay, now we got a good list. Well, when they're loading up heavily, historically, it's a good time to do so. And so you're just consistently stacking the odds in your favor. So what I would tell people to take from this is, look, you can be mad all you want, but there is a group of people who consistently for decades have outperformed the market. Not every day, not every week, not every time, but historically, they tend to buy more at the lows. They tend to sell more at the highs. They make more year over year. So just follow what they're doing. Use the same advantage. It's public information. It's out there in the open, and I'll show you how to use it. So I hope people come to this. I think you're putting a link below this
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
All you got to do is click email, name. I'll send you all the details. I think you mentioned this in the beginning, but anyone who registers, I'm going to send you our most recent recommendation. So you're going to get the full 3-4 page report, our most recent pick. You're going to see what insiders are buying. You're going to see the depth of our research and what's available to you. And I think when you do, you'll realize what a big edge this is. And even if you can't come live, go ahead and register. We'll send you the recording that next day. That way you can still take this in. But it is eye-opening stuff. I've been doing this for a decade. Like I said, we've got all the proof that it works, and I'm just trying to show more people how to do it.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, all that you said it from the beginning and just now that the data is out there, but
Yeah.
it seems that Congress has made it, hard to find. It's not something that you can just go click, click, click. There it is. I see everything. And also, you have to go through all the data. You have to find out, what are they doing? How are the trades made? When are they making it? And I think, you know, it's important to figure out how it's done. And I think that's
Yes.
what most people are trying to do. I mean, they see that all these people making a lot of money, but they're like, okay, if they're doing it, let me go online, let me find out how to do it, and I can't find it. And people say this is impossible. How do I find this information? I think that's the biggest thing. How do I find it? What do I do with it?
Yeah,
That's
and that's what we try to do is just
yeah,
simplify it, right? Because when I lay it out in the presentation, we go, okay, here's all the buyers, here's it. It's like, oh, well, yeah, third grader could have picked up on
yeah.
that's obvious. But like, how do I know how to find all this stuff? I mean, this database has 500 trades in it. Which ones do I look at? How do I get it down to 4 or 5? And so that's what we try to show people how to do. And listen, as you said, I had 4 different securities licenses, been in this business for 20 years. It's complicated. I can't imagine how hard it is. It'd be like me trying to figure out brain surgery. But if a brain surgeon came and said, just put your head in this, it'll scan it. The red zones are problems, the green zones are good. I can understand that, right? And so that's what I'm going to try to do, and I do in these free training sessions. And I promise. Listen, if you've never bought a stock before, if you have no idea what a dividend is, this is not going to be complicated. I'm a guy from South Alabama. I don't speak in jargon. This is something anyone can do. You just need a little bit of hand holding to show you what to look for and how to execute it. And I promise you can do it.
What can people expect when they, they sign up, they're online? What can they expect? What are you going to tell them?
So I'll start at the beginning and I'll just show you like, here's what we're trying to do. And I'll show you several examples of like real big winning stocks that we recommended and what they had in common, like how to find where the Form 4s and the regulatory filings are, what it looks like when you got a big opportunity there, some tripwires, things that if you see this, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. And then I'll kind of just walk you through step by step how to do this and how to very simply whittle it down to just 3, 4, 5 no-brainer opportunities. And so it's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. We do send the recording out the next day, so you can watch that again. But I'm going to go A to Z through this all in simple, regular English, and just show people how to execute it.
So why did you decide to do this for free for people? I mean, what's the reason for this?
Well, we do have a paid service. So like we have run a paid service for years. We do all the work for our members. So like 4 or 5 times per month, we send them our full reports. We text them and email them the buy alerts. We text them and email them when to sell and track it and do all that. So if it's something people really want to move forward with, we do have a paid service. We'll do it. But listen, 100 other people doing this doesn't take anything away from me. Right? It's not like a zero-sum game where every dollar you make, someone else loses. That's not how it works. It's not how equity markets function. So this is all out there. I'm happy to show anyone how to do it. If you see it all and go, that's a lot, Ross, I'd rather pay a small nominal fee for you and your team to do it for me and just tell me buy, sell, fine, I can do that as well. But no, I think more people deserve to know this information. And I'm doing it anyway. What's an hour of my time a couple times a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like if your refrigerator or air conditioning breaks down, yeah, you could try to fix it, but it's always nicer to have someone to do the work for you.
Well, that's
Because
a great example,
yeah,
right? There's YouTube accounts probably of HVAC guys that show you exactly how to fix a refrigerator or fix your
right.
AC unit. And if you want to do that, he'll gladly show. There's a video out there to do it, but he's like, if you don't, here's my phone number. Call me and I'll come do it for you. So,
Right.
same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the seminar is going to be on Thursday, July 30th at 3 p.m. And again, I'm going to put the link in the description. And here it is. It's insidersx22.com. There's also a QR code that you can click on, and you're going to get a free stock pick report for everyone that registers. And last time, people were very excited about this. And I think this time it's going to be the same exact thing.
Yeah, we had great feedback from your viewers. I appreciate that very much. If you want to come again, please, you're welcome to. The only thing is the software we use called GoToWebinar does cap at 1,000 attendees. So I encourage people to register early. If you put your phone, I think there's a box, put your phone number in. We'll text you like 15 minutes before we get started, just as a reminder. But that way you can log in and join and see the whole thing.
Well, Ross, thank you very much for coming on the X22 Report Spotlight once again. I really appreciate it. And once again, I'm going to put the link at the bottom. It'll also be on the screen and the QR code. So it'll make it a lot easier for people to go right over and join up for free.
Perfect. Well, great talking to you.